And it is time for the hot topic of the hour. Hunter Biden expected to be indicted by the end of the month on federal gun charges, avoiding jail time for lying on a federal form when purchasing a firearm back in 2018. Now, all of this comes as House Republicans are demanding Hunter's legal team turn over all records of communications with the Justice Department related to the collapsed sweetheart plea deal. Now, they're warning that failure to produce the documents could result in Hunter and his lawyers being called to testify before Congress. Kaylee, obviously these are several leaders, James Comer, Jim Jordan, they want answers. James Comer, even though the House is in recess until next week, has been obviously working from home. Your reaction this morning?
You know, my fear here is that everything that House Republicans are doing on this front is not going to matter, because if you look at the statute of limitations on the crimes that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are being accused of, the statute of limitations on tax fraud, on the gun charge, it's about 5 to 6 years. This has been under investigation by the federal government since 2018. The clock is ticking. We are very quickly running up on the deadline here. And, you know, that has been David Weiss's entire strategy for him to say, oh, maybe we'll indict Hunter Biden now. He's been under investigation for this since 2018. David Weiss could have indicted him, should have indicted him years ago, and he did not, for the very specific reason that he wanted to protect Joe Biden.
Yeah, and again, David Weiss is now the special counsel. The argument has been made several times, Mark. There were plenty of other very qualified individuals who could have been special counsel, but this was David Weiss, who, to Kaylee's point, seems to have slow-rolled the entire Hunter Biden investigation, and likely under political pressure.
And I think it causes me, certainly, and I think a lot of Americans, to question this justice system. I mean, it's definitely a two-tier system of justice that we're working with. I mean, you just look at most recently, you know, you had what's his name, Enrique Tarrio, sentenced to 22 years in prison. Wasn't even
January
at
6th.
Wasn't even at the Capitol. Now, I'm not condoning what he did or what he didn't do, but you compare that to, there was a gentleman or a guy who lit a federal courthouse on fire in Portland in 2020. I think that's a little worse than not being at the Capitol. He got 2 years of probation.
Well, I mean, we've made the argument, you and I both have made the argument about the tax charges against Hunter Biden. Most Americans would have been prosecuted and convicted for those tax charges, and he was getting that. I mean, it was a sweetheart deal. Come on. It
was, and I think 2014 and 2015, I think the time on that on those 2 years have lapsed, and those were the two biggest years.
Well, and on the gun charge specifically, again, this is an administration that has been very bullish on gun control and wanting to restrict Americans' Second Amendment rights. And yet, when it comes to Hunter Biden lying on a form about his drug abuse in order to purchase a firearm, and does anyone really believe that this is the only firearm that he purchased at that time? I don't think so. I don't think the government believes so, because they had an entire file on his illegal purchase. So it's hypocritical. It's very revealing.
Well, there was illegal drugs involved at the time, which he has written a whole book about. He's obviously been honest about his drug issues, but also the cars and the hotels and everything else that he was doing. You know, it's interesting because House Oversight Chairman James Comer has requested that the National Archives, he wants the unredacted emails involving communications between then Vice President Biden, that office, and then Hunter's business associates. So White House Oversight and Investigation spokesperson Ian Sams actually slammed the investigations into the Biden family. This was this week. He said, if it's a day that ends in Y, James Comer is lying about President Biden. It's all part of his months-long effort to waste time and taxpayer resources on an evidence-free wild goose chase that does absolutely nothing to help improve the lives of Americans, which is what Congress should be prioritizing, and is only focused on politically smearing the president, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way I feel about this is House Republicans always have their hands tied behind their backs. It's very difficult for them to get the information they're looking for. Apparently, there's around 200 emails that have not been released yet.
Over 800 were, but again, there was a lot of redactions.
200 hidden for executive privilege purposes or whatnot. It was so easy for the House Democrats to impeach Donald Trump twice. So easy. And then you just kind of go through, you look at the timelines of things. And the first impeachment on Donald Trump was a quid pro quo call to Ukraine. But it looks like President Biden, when he was VP, threatened Ukraine to withhold $1 billion of aid if they didn't fire a prosecutor. So, I mean,
and then the vice president bragged about it when he was years later about how he got that prosecutor fired. All of this is, I mean, there's a lineage there's a timeline. That's what James Comer has. There are bank records. That's what that committee has. And by the way, we've been told by several members of that committee on James Comer's committees on this program that they've seen, this was Nancy Mace, they've seen the documents, but they can't discuss it. So whatever they're seeing is motivating them to continue this investigation into Hunter Biden and Joe Biden.
Yeah, in this statement from the White House, coming from the same people who defended years of Russian collusion and the wild goose chase that was alleged collusion between Trump and Russia, when the government knew there was absolutely no evidence to support those allegations. And yet here we have verifiable emails from Joe Biden to Hunter Biden's business associates in which he accepted talking points that were drafted for him about Ukrainian policy. What more do you need? What more do you need to see? That is evidence.
Well, obviously that gun charge, I mean, things have definitely changed. I think the narrative has changed for David Weiss because, again, that gun charge is coming for Hunter Biden by the end of this month.